Reading comprehension is not just one skill. It's many different skills all working together to help your child comprehend and understand what they're reading. Uh, Fairly recently, near the end of my time in the classroom, I had a meeting with a parent, and we were specifically talking about their child's ability to comprehend what they're reading and how we were going to put a plan together to improve it for her. And I was trying to explain to the mom at that time that even though we're saying we're improving her child's reading comprehension, it sounds like we're saying it's just one skill, but I said it's analyzing, it's comparing and contrasting, it's asking them, "Hey, what literally happened on page 47 in the novel?" So there's many different aspects of reading comprehension that go well beyond just reading. And so we're going to go over all the different aspects of that in this video today. So if you're working with your child on reading comprehension and you find that they are struggling to understand what they're reading, hopefully you'll get something out of this where you can start to identify, hey, that's something my child actually is doing well. And you know what? I need to ask more questions like this when we read a book together. Please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already done so, check us out, the Lil Will Learning Company, and check out our core academic skill system package. It deals with all of math, arithmetic from beginning to end, reading fluency from grades 1 through 8, and a full spelling curriculum, grades 1 through 8 as well. It's a tremendous value for your kid. And without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. Speak the speech, I pray you, trippingly on the tongue. Now, that line from Hamlet basically says whatever you're reading, whatever lines you're saying, basically read it clearly and read it correctly. Reading correctly still comes down to decoding, then fluency, and then vocabulary. I've talked about those three in other videos, so I don't want to go into too much detail about it here. But basically, first they have to decode the words or the print correctly, essentially. Then from there, they do need fluency, where they can read it with a decent amount of speed, prosody, and ease. But then they have to now know what the words mean. They need a decent vocabulary with it. Once these three are in place, you have a very good foundation for reading comprehension. But if not, work on that decoding. A suggestion for parents especially, I would say more often than not, fluency is the issue. So have them take an excerpt or a passage, read it out loud, have them read it out loud numerous times until that fluency over many, many practices really begins to improve, or it becomes much easier for them to read things aloud like that. If they decode well, have good fluency, and are learning a lot of vocabulary, that's the better foundation for comprehension. Don't work on comprehension first. I will tell you what, but let me first tell you what I'm about to say. That line from Twelfth Night is the most basic level of comprehension, which is when a student reads something, just ask them literally, tell me what happened. Literally, what happened on this page? What happened right at this event right here? It's a very beginning level of reading comprehension. It's probably the one that most students will end up being asked as they read new material. Now, it's a very good start. It's unfortunate there are some who don't ever go beyond that level of comprehension, but it's still a very good start for students. That if your child or a student is not even able to answer the basic level questions, the literally tell me what happened in this part here, then you can start to go, okay, maybe it is the decoding, the fluency, and the vocabulary. But if they can answer these type of questions correctly, that's a very good start. And of course, you eventually want to go to more challenging and deeper level of understanding. But as a parent, when you're reading a book with them or anything with your child, just pause for a second after certain parts and ask, tell me what happened. It's okay to keep it simple at first. If they can answer these basic level comprehension questions, then it's possible for them to have more difficult comprehension questions asked of them afterwards. Against my will, I am sent to bid you come in to dinner. There's a double meaning in that. Now, that great line from Benedict from Much Ado About Nothing talks about the next level of comprehension, which is, in a sense, reading between the lines or understanding the meaning underneath the literal text. We call this inference. And essentially, what that means is, can the child figure out what the text really means, even though it doesn't directly or literally say it? For an example, let's say they're reading a novel and the character slams the door shut and walks away in a hurried, tense manner. Now, the novel has literally not said the character is angry, but based on the actions and the way they describe the character's body language, a good reader can piece together that the character is in fact angry. And your child wants to get to this level of comprehension where they can infer and read beyond what the text literally says. Now, as a parent, some things you can do if you're reading with your child is just ask, hey, how do you think this character is feeling? Or why do you think that character just did that action right now? It's a great way to start developing their inference skills. How far that little candle throws his beams. Now, that quote from The Merchant of Venice deals with analyzing and comparing when reading text, basically noticing the impact of an action or a thought, the connections and the relationships. So it goes a little bit beyond just inferring. You start to see a broader picture of people and ideas within reading. Here, you're asking the child to now compare different ideas that were presented within the story to explain cause and effect. Like if the effect is this character now has decided to run away from home, you ask them, well, what were all the causes that brought the character to that point where they make this decision? Then also asking them, track the various changes that happen through the story. What are all the things that cause changes not only in characters, perhaps also changes in setting or a change in a relationship between people as well? And taking track of all these various events and seeing how all of them connect together. So this goes well beyond, hey, what just happened? And it's asking what just happened and how are all of these connected to a person and connected to a setting. So one easy way you can do this as a parent is you can simply ask your child while you're reading together, well, what just changed? Or what has caused that change to occur? And even probably a really good one, how are these two parts now still the same or how are they different now? What's past is prologue. That quote from The Tempest addresses the next part, predicting and monitoring while reading. Because strong readers, they're going to always be thinking ahead in the story. While reading, make predictions about what you think will happen next. What will happen next in the story? Why do you think that will happen? If they make incorrect predictions in the story, that's okay. Adjust when you're wrong, and now, based on what's happened so far, create new predictions about what you think will happen next. Also, when reading, sometimes, especially on the type of novel, like if you're reading a murder mystery, analyzing what is not making any sense in the story as well. Because it's okay to notice those little details as well. Really important in this particular skill about predicting and monitoring the reading is that if a child's going, I have no idea what's going on right now, but they just keep reading on, that's not a good thing. It's okay to pause at times and to review everything that's going on, and you could go over the various questions we've done so far. You can ask the literal ones. Well, what has literally happened so far in the story? Then you can ask the inferences like, well, what do you think these characters mean? How do you think they're feeling? It's okay if a child is struggling with reading to pause for a bit and go over all those details and say, let's talk about why we think a certain event will happen next, and let's look at all the events that have happened so far. All the world's a stage. Now, that famous quote from As You Like It deals with the deeper level of understanding when reading. Basically, when you are reading, eventually you have to connect the whole ideas and topics of the book to your own life. And as a child, that this can be one of the more difficult skills to really develop. And truthfully, they probably will have to develop it over many readings, over many books and novels and topics and ideas that are presented. But this is where they take what they've read from the book, they connect it to their life and life in general. It's them understanding bigger ideas and topics that maybe if they're just presented the idea without any context, it doesn't make any sense. But what's nice about reading a novel is it gives a lot of context, in fact, a whole story to present an idea. And then at the end, it also allows them to form their own thoughts about those topics, ideas, and lessons as well. So this is not just asking what just happened, but when you're reading something, it's asking, what do you think the author is trying to teach us here? And how does that connect to your life? How does that connect to people in general? What does that say about our world and about people we know? So when you're reading with your child, you can ask, "Hey, does this remind you of anything? And what do you think this story is really about? What do you think they're trying to teach us here?" So if someone says to you about your child, "Hey, they need to work on their reading comprehension." Again, it's not just one skill. There's many levels of comprehending and understanding reading. And you've now seen from this video the numerous layers that are kind of built one upon each other. And it comes down to, literally understanding, hey, what literally happened here? Then inferring, reading between the lines, understanding the meaning underneath the text, and then predicting and monitoring, always wondering what's going to be happening next, which then eventually leads to the real big ideas of the reading, the novel, the text, which is what is the author trying to say here? What are they trying to teach us? What is this book saying about people and life in general? And if you have a child who can really comprehend and understand any book or excerpt on all those different levels, they have incredibly strong reading comprehension skills, and it makes them a much stronger reader. Thanks for watching this video. Again, please like and subscribe. And again, come check us out, the Lil Will Learning Company. And until next time, take care.